Hello and welcome to Volume 72 of the One Piece Virgin Eggheads Book Club podcast, covering chapters 712 to 721 of One Piece. And Eggy, forget about top of mind. I have a hat thing today, and I'm bursting at the seams. I'll give you an opportunity just in case you want to say it first, in case it's the same thing. Do you have anything you're just dying to say, Eggy? Because I am!
They're making the toys out of people!
Ah! That's a good one, but what I had on top of hat was Bartolomeo is Luffy's biggest fan! He's literally me! He's literally fucking me! Ah! I love Barto so much! And yes, the toys are made of people as well.
He does remind me of myself in the fact that, he was prospering from criminal enterprises until Luffy came into his life, and then he said, okay, it's time to change up. Once upon a time, I was going on a live stream and talking about what I was doing to Bill Gates' house, or George Soros' automobile, cutting certain things here, putting certain things in. Considered possibly terrorism to some people. YouTube said it was. Anyway, but now I'm really on the straight and narrow, just living the pirate's life for me, and it's all thanks to the king himself.
Last week I was grilling Eggy. Oh my god, how can Luffy fight against Bartolomeo and his barrier fruit that even the King Punch can't touch? And Eggy's trying to figure out some magical scheme of battle. But no, we've already won the fool's heart. Years ago, Buggy the Clown swung that sword and the rest was history. I love that Luffy's #1 fan is a complete scumbag. He's called a cannibal. He's just pissing in front of children. And now we know who he wants to win the fruit for. I assume to give it to Luffy. What a fucking hero.
Yeah, if you told me in the last volume, do you think that Bartolomeo could ever be like a Straw Hat? There's no way in hell, but just seeing the absolute reverence that he had, like literally just his... I can't remember. It wasn't like he was really being brought to tears, I don't think, but he has like an expression right around the same time that he hears Luffy's superiority being challenged by some nobody, and he starts freaking out on him and squishing him. He's just like, oh, yeah. Oh, this, just like this absolute joyful expression. And there is another expression, I think, from chapter 712 that I, just like our good friend Eneru back in the day, and his, legendary meme expression. Was it 712? It was 713. One of these chapters has a panel of Usopp making a particular expression. Ah, yes, it was 713. The good old-fashioned, double nose drip, sweat drop, eyes bulging Usopp. I feel like I've seen this one around in my time more than a few times. So.
Oh, like the Eneru face. It's one of those memed images, perhaps. Eggy, right. We've done our hats. Do you have any top of mind, or should we discuss more about the toys? It looks like Blaze wants out of the room. One moment.
Well, I guess I'm thinking probably my top of mind is Usopp is the reincarnation of Mont Blanc Nolan sent to save us from the evil tyranny of Doflamingo.
Now, Eggy, I don't want to say you're as gullible as a Tontata, but there's a chance Usopp was fibbing about that. Or was he? Ah! We don't know.
I mean, well, the thing is, Mont Blanc Nolan really in a league of his own, really legendary, really, literally mythical. Worshipped. The statue's been down here for all these hundreds of years. He was there, it seems. And Usopp, his claim to the crown is a chestnut helmet. But at the end of the day, post-time skip, Usopp, Mont Blanc Nolan, we go in, fist for fist, swing for swing, shot for shot. I'm thinking, it's not like Usopp's really a small fry. He's not a 50,000 Emperor Hockey, champion that he's trying to tell everybody that he is. But, but I gotta say, he was willing to get on the back of the Fox with Robiland, and start heading to the front lines. He was showing a little more courage, a little more bravery under these circumstances, which are completely false lies that he just made up with to save his own ass. Which he's done this whole time, but usually he'll be like doing that, and then he'll be like, a little hot under the collar. It seemed like he was ready to rock and roll. And they're not mincing words that this is the battle of the Tontata versus the Doflamingo. They got to take them all down. Yeah, I'm thinking that No, it's not exactly new behavior from Usopp, but to me, it's sort of a new bit of bravery that I could acknowledge that he's not immediately shitting himself about like, oh fuck, I gotta go fight Doflamingo. Now, he's holding the mantle strong, probably because he knows that his crew is gonna probably converge with him on the same point, the same idea. But he has seeing.
There's also the botany element to it because Noland was like a botanist. He did all that shit with the trees, and now Usopp's whole power is just using all these strange plants. So maybe there is some sort of spiritual connection of ancient ancestor. Who knows? Because I think the long nose came from Usopp's mother's side, right? So anything could be happening on the father's side.
And if he's good enough for Shanks, I mean, he's got to have some latent energy, I would say.
Eggy, do you know what a birthday chapter is?
Birthday chapter. I would guess that it's going to be chapter 713 for certain people that might be involved in this conversation.
That's right. And yours, I believe, was on December 6th or 7th. Which one? 7th?
6th.
Okay, so your birthday chapter is either chapter 126 or the upcoming 1206. So I guess when that time comes, you can choose which one fits you better. I did look up 126, and it was the chapter where Mr. 3 makes a bunch of clones of himself, and then Luffy kicks the correct one and says instinct, and I think that might have been early observation hockey, perhaps. So not a bad candidate for Eggy's birthday chapter. But chapter 713 here, I think it might have to be my new favorite single solitary chapter in One Piece because, I mean, July 13th birthday, and everybody knows my favorite characters are Usopp and Law, and they certainly take the front shining and center here in this chapter. The very epic moment where Fujitora pulls a literal fucking meteor out of the sky, out of space, and throws it at Law, and Law could use his powers to survive just barely. Very epic. And then everything with Usopp, with his lies about the legendary hero. I love all that. Everybody knows my favorite flashback is the Nolan stuff. And I'm thinking, this is all way too coincidental that all of my favorite things would be front and center in my birthday chapter. And then, what does the Chief Tantara say? Truly, it can only be an act of fate. Oda, stop stalking me before I even knew that this was happening and putting this in the story. How did he know, Eggy?
Well, I guess what comes to mind for me is we talked about this before, how top-selling authors of all time, I think Oda and J.K. Rowling are really neck and neck, as I recall.
I think they're around 6 and 7, respectively.
That's right. And my girlfriend's been watching all these like Harry Potter retrospectives on TV, like while I've been in the house lately. So I'm hearing about these millennial book reviewers like, oh, I don't think J.K. Rowling had any idea what she was doing. It was just really coincidental luck that she did that. Well, not so much for Oda. I think he might have a little something called the glare fruit. I've been hearing about it in this volume, something that he could just like have a sixth sense, a future sight. And I don't know. I mean, he's the one who wrote it into this volume. Is he trying to tell us something here? Well, we have such, a chapter of 713 that is so, Nostradamic. It's just got such an incredible precision to reality and resonance. I think that Oda, he's really been baking every single bit of this into the pie. The worst that we've had in 700 chapters is, the Fishmen generals being a little too introductive. I think he knows what he's doing.
Well, I guess the real test will be your birthday chapter, if it actually matches all of your favorite characters, because I don't think Mr. 3 is your all-time favorite character. So hopefully 1206 will give us what we need.
Well, I could say this much, you might look at him and you might not think, oh, well, what he's got, his powers, he's got the little 3 hair. Well, let it be known, back in 2014, I got my first infamous recognition on account of my hair. You could say it's on account of what my head looks like. That also is very true. But I had a haircut, and I was looking for haircut advice on a fashion forum, and everybody couldn't believe that's what a real human looked like, and so they all started spamming it all over the place. And I think it had to do a little bit with the hair also. So maybe, and he's got kind of a oval skull, as I recall. Maybe I'm not remembering completely correctly, but
But have you ever made multiple clones of yourself and then been kicked in the face by a man named Mumkey? Because I think we can make that happen.
that's true. The best I've done with cloning myself is copy pasting my webcam over and over again with a green screen behind me, and then you have like a bunch of layers of yourself on top of each other. So there's that. I don't think anybody's ever kicked me in the face, but that's because I was this tall when I was 10 years old. I just had a growth spurt, never got any taller, so I've always had a little bit of an edge on kickers.
Yeah, it's hard to kick that high. Might tear my groin. I want to talk about the people being toys. I want to talk about this glare fruit. Question number one. Glare fruit allows you to like see into people's brains, and you can like watch their memories as a scene from a movie. I think we talked about that recently for some reason. Does it grant her the power of whale tears, where her tears become giant whale projectiles that can obliterate people? Can she just do that, or is that from the fruit?
It doesn't. This fruit is very. I don't want to like look it up because I could get spoiled on something.
Yeah.
We've got, first off, it's X-rays, so she can see your penis. Okay?
Yes.
We don't know. It doesn't show Sanji, but it's there. Then she could see like his muscle level and his skeleton, which is insane. And then she could like see into his mind. Like she's asking him questions as she's looking into his mind. Because
To verify he's telling the truth, yeah.
Yeah. It's going to instantaneously jog something in his mind that might not even be what he wants to respond with, but there's an instantaneous development there. But
unfortunately for her, his mind is full of such perversion that she is immediately repulsed and terrified.
Sanji is truly the truest of the quote-unquote nice guys. Everything that's outward is like, oh, I would never, a woman's tears can never be thought to be false. That's never happened before. It's always true. And like, meanwhile, in his mind, he's just thinking about like every bit of her naked body and like, cooking it up like a delicious Sanjified meal, buffet from top to bottom.
Hey, let that be a lesson to all the ladies out there listening to this podcast. I know there's at least hundreds. Even the nicest guy is probably thinking about stripping you naked, so be careful. These guys are pigs. But she seems to fall for Sanji. Like he has nothing he can hide, and she sees him as the genuine soul that he is in a way. And I think that's what wins her over. So even his perverted thoughts were pure enough for her, I suppose.
I guess what this is just a phrase that I've heard, but like I guess you were thinking about what you wanted to do to every one of my holes, but you're so true, and you're just yourself. You're really true and honestly to yourself. You're not sugarcoating it. So I respect that.
On the flip side, if I found out a beautiful woman was fantasizing about all the ways to play with my cock, I would probably be okay with that, to be honest. Actually, matter of fact, you only get this dick if you never stop thinking about it. Big ups, word pimp.
Yeah, just don't ever use the glare fruit on Lola in pig form, because that's going to be something that's going to give you a nightmare. You're probably going to end up doing seppuku.
Anything else from the Sanji and is her name Violet or Viola? I got it mixed up now.
In my reading, it was Violet.
Okay, that's correct. She kicks him in the face pretty brutally, but it's hard to hurt Sanji, I guess.
That's true. Well, and as we know, I mean, for better or worse, because the way that they start this interaction is like, oh, wow, you're such a stupid, pathetic idiot. Like, wow, like you'll literally just walk right into your own death just because I'm a woman. You're a total freak loser. But he sticks to his guns, and I think that's also another part of it. He's not faking the funk. He is who he is. He's willing to die behind his love for the female.
Well, he's almost got his own glare fruit where he could recognize like the pain behind her tears and eyes was real, even if what she was saying to him was a lie. And he's not going to let a beautiful woman feel that despair if he can help it. And then we don't really get much else from them for the rest of the volume, do we? Unless I'm misremembering.
Yeah, I feel like that is just about it, because we have Luffy on the battlefield, we have Zoro, Frankie, Usopp, and Robin with the Tontatas.
And the Tin Soldier.
Nami, Brook, and Chopper are all getting Picasso'd.
That's right. And the mural I was talking about before, which might have been in a bonus episode, actually, our Thriller Bark bonus episode. I talked about there's a mural coming up. I don't think it was in this one. Might have to wait till next volume, but it's coming up with the crazy Picasso powers. What do you think of that? That she turns them... Is her name Viola, then? Or do these characters have very similar names? This artist lady?
I think it's... God, I swear it says it very early on, but I don't know...
Yeah, I must have forgot to write it down, but she turns them into, like, abstract art, and I guess it weakens them and they can't really fight back.
Of the Don Quixote family, the Club Tree Ball Army, Giola or Jola.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Giola, she does look like... Yeah, I don't know. You see, Oda wouldn't really have this experience in where he's at and where he is at in his life and everything, but this woman does bear a stark resemblance to many art teachers that I had in public school over the years. You know, you have like this just kind of... Before these were like quote unquote SJW glasses as of like 10 years ago. I'm talking about like 30 years ago when I was in school. You know, they had like the big red frames with like the angles. They'd be like having bright red lipstick on, crazy hair, because they're like, oh, it's, you know, it's artistic, free thinking. Ooh. So she's definitely harnessing a little bit of that energy, and also as well, the introductory panel saying, oh, who just called me a mermaid princess, also is giving me a little bit of Water 7 energy, like, you know, but this is like the evil version of my previous heroic female friend, Tom's wife, whose name is escaping me at the moment, but...
This is the second Don Quixote family member to have powers that are a ripoff from Boba 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 Bo, because we had Torpedo Girl not too long ago with Baby 5, and this art thing, I don't remember the name of the character. It's not Holly Kulani, because he loved money, but there was a Boba Bo major villain who would also just turn people into art, and I guarantee that came out before this, so once again, Oda's stealing from the best.
Yeah, I think I remember us watching those episodes, as I recall.
Yeah, I can't remember that guy's name, though, and I tried to Google it, and it did not help. Did not help. Should have asked the ChatGPT. I'm sure they would have got it right.
Yeah, if they know the bat from Thriller Bark, I'm sure they got to know.
Do you remember his name? Also from our recent bonus episode for members only, the Thriller Bark character tier list. What was the name of the bat, Eggy?
I want to say it was Hildon.
You got it. Where do we go from here, Eggy? Do you want to finally talk about these sad toys who are not remembered? There's a brutal line in here that I thought was... the toy soldier says, like, this country is divided into the forgotten and the forgetters. Like, holy shit. Holy shit. How is Dressrosa not everybody's favorite arc? Like, this is amazing storytelling here.
Because, yeah, he sees a toy dog with one of its eyes X'd out. He calls it, like, Unpaku or one Poke or something. Unpoko. And he's, like, communicating with the toy soldier through, like, a thought bubble. Like, oh, that's my daughter and my wife. And then he questions these people and like, oh, I guess I've never been married. I don't know. It's just weird, I guess.
I just had a kid somehow. I don't know what happened.
So the idea that, the way I'm reading it is, yeah, there's whatever power at play here that's creating these people into toys is also having some kind of like Men in Black memory erasure effect. And I'm guessing it isn't just a compliance with the Doflamingo tyranny that is causing them to respond that way.
So let's say hypothetically, somebody gets turned into a toy and then everybody who ever knew them just forgets they existed. Are we to believe Kanjuro, the missing Wano samurai, has not been turned into a toy in all this time since Kinemon is thinking about him and trying to save him? Because they said they need to save him from the House of Toys, right? Is this motherfucker a toy or not?
Well, I don't know Kanjuro's whole story. I feel like these are just, I'm guessing, normal citizens that are just being turned into toys. So if you've got this kind of Wano samurai capability, that might be giving you a little more to work with for defending yourself. I could also see it as perhaps, and maybe it's an area of effect kind of thing. Maybe you have to be in a certain proximity to the person affected in order to have the memory erasure applied as well. But I would be perfectly willing to believe that he's been able to defend himself to some degree so far, although it'd probably be hard with maybe the stepping down, quote unquote, of Doflamingo, which we come to find. I think we found that out in the last volume, actually, is not what it seems. Maybe that sort of confusion or that empty seat for that time being might have given him a little bit of extra leeway in defending himself in this circumstance. But I feel like either of those could be agreeable enough predictions on my part.
Now that we know there's like society-wide memory erasure at play, are we perhaps a little less confused about a 20-year-old statue we learned about last time that nobody has any memory of?
You know, to be honest, I'm just putting that together now for the first time now that you mention it. But yes, for those who might have had a little memory erasure themselves, we had the great hero...
Heroes!
Kyros, yes. See, that guy there was this whole thing on Twitter about this guy named Kyros, so I'm crossing wires here.
Oh,
Kyros,
was it similar to a big statue that nobody remembers?
From my understanding, he's just a very prolific and good tweet maker who his account tweeted out, I'm his brother and I found him dead, so keep us in your prayers.
Oh, he was trolling. Yeah, I saw that.
Yep.
Fuck that guy. Fuck whoever made that go viral when it wasn't even real. Come on, I didn't need to see that.
That's right. So, speaking of Kyros of infamy, but yes, it would seem now that would pair quite well with him being made into a toy, perhaps, and then that would also give credence to the whole proximity effect that I'm thinking here, because you have Kenshiro is off in the Kinemon. If Kinemon's out, you know, on different islands while this is all going on, that might have given him some distance from the proximity effect, where everybody here on Dressrosa would not have that if Kyros was taken and turned into a toy.
I just hope we find out sooner than later if Kanjuro has been a toy this whole time or not, because I might have some plot holes that he'd filled in if this proximity effect thing is not the case. But hey, for all I know, Kanjuro is still a human right now, and this all makes sense. They just decided not to convert him for no reason. Sure.
Well, let's see. I mean, you know, I guess if Kinemon has his clothes, quote-unquote sorcery, quote-unquote devil fruit, whatever the case might be, maybe he's got some kind of, like, ice block. He's got some kind of defensive thing, like how... was it Bobby Funk? Is that the one in this?
Yeah, well, we'll get into the Funk Brothers. I'm ready, Eggy. Is this not the ideal? Is this the devil fruit that you and me should have? Is that I can become a jacket and you can wear me, and then I can control Eggy's body?
Kind of seems a little bit. I don't know. I mean, it's. It seems like it could be overpowered. I mean, obviously there's a lot of overpowered stuff going on here, but it's sort of like if he wins, you know, if the Funk duo combine and that is the victorious fighter, I mean, who exactly is being championed here? Like, are they going to give it to the...
I think they'd have to fight 1v1 at the end. I think.
So, and then, one of them would probably just take the bow and let the other brother move on, then maybe, I don't know.
But then in the final round, he'd be fucked.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they were thinking. You say this has the potential to be overpowered. Walk me through that creative process here.
Well, just it's sort of like I'm trying to think back to a video game analogy, which is something I'm very fond of doing, where you could take two pieces of gear. I think there were things like that over the years, certain games. Maybe it was some like private server World of Warcraft back in the day, where you could like take two ultimate weapons and like stack them together to have their stats combined. You know, it still has to be the sum of its parts. So, you know, if these are two mediocre parts becoming something great, they could still be overtaken by something that's naturally more powerful. But yeah, it's sort of like
Can you name 2 One Piece characters that would most greatly benefit from this? Because by wearing the jacket person, are you getting stronger, or do they just have control over you? It seems like you would just need like a strong body and then like a brilliant tactician or something, but otherwise I don't know how it makes you any better.
Yeah, I guess that's a fair point. Yeah, you gotta have the So almost like a boxing coach in and of it, yeah, because that's like how it goes down in the ring. Is they'll be hollering at you, oh, throw this punch, throw that kick, or whatever, while you're, while they're
getting
off
your
on the
face
sidelines.
kicked in, yeah, trying to pay attention at the same time.
I suppose that's fair. Yeah.
The jacket fruit is the go-to example for One Piece fans of like a stupid or worthless devil fruit power that like if you ate this fruit, you basically have lost the ability to swim for no reason. It's completely useless. But Oda spends at least 2 full chapters about this. Like I feel like an entire chapter was setting up what is happening here for a payoff that I am not happy about. And I wonder, what are the long-term implications here? Because it has to be something. I don't think Oda would waste literally an entire chapter establishing this power unless it was going to be extremely relevant. Not even necessarily in this arc, but like far in the future. And I'm racking my brain trying to figure out like what does Oda have planned for this fucking jacket fruit. It was so important for him to put it in here. What characters could utilize this like in the end game of the story to be relevant? Unless it's just some sort of metaphor for a great power controlling another person, which I guess is kind of relevant with Doflamingo controlling people from time to time. But I don't know. If anybody has any theories, let me know in the comments.
Well, 2 things I could say, and I guess I'm going to presume that Kelly Funk, who is the one who has the jacket fruit, he has this thing that Oda really puts a spotlight on, his ultra violence, where his opponent is like literally unconscious and like a pulp, but he's still just repeatedly smashing their skull into the concrete over and over again when he's basically like dead already. He doesn't even care.
The danger of a short man's rage thrust into a big strong man. You don't want to see what would happen if I controlled Eggy, folks. I'd be smashing your corpse's skull in.
It might be even 5% more violent than I am just already.
Yeah, because you don't know the rage of a little person.
That's true.
They call me Seven Little Johnson over here.
What I could see, let's just say that that's part of his personality and it doesn't come from anything to do with the fruit itself. But I mean, this could be something along the lines of how Doflamingo could puppeteer. Let's say if I had it and I saw, a guy who's like 7 feet tall, and I'm just like, oh, jacket fruit, and I like swoop over him and like take over. Could there be a hostile takeover? Can a vessel reject somebody who is deciding to use the jacket fruit and take control of them? Because
I think you would have control, but how do you get it on? Like, you have to put your arms through sleeves and stuff, right? Like, it's not like a cloak that you can just kind of fall on somebody's back. I think you have to actually physically put your arms through it and put it on. Maybe even zip it up.
I think
you could maybe trick somebody like, oh, hey, Aka Inu, I got you a brand new jacket. It kind of looks like a human, but here, try it on. That might be something. Especially if a Kinemon can make clothes appear. I don't know, could he change the jacket to look like a different article of clothing and trick somebody into wearing it? We need these collabs to happen.
That's right. So, I mean, just as an explanation for why, because I don't know if one of the Kelly brothers gets taken out, I don't know what the final call might be here at the end of this tournament. Maybe somebody's going to get executed. Maybe this fruit could end up reappearing a little bit later on down the line, but I could see it having future utility for that reason, as sort of like just a way to control somebody. And if it happens to that he did not have this violence as a natural part of his personality, if that had something to do with the fruit as well, that could just add like a berserkerish element to it, to where you could really get yourself on somebody big and strong and powerful and really cause some havoc. So I think there's that as a potential future usage for it, or why it might be explained. So uh, exceptionally right now.
The jacket fruit, everybody's favorite. Hey, what else do we got in Block C here? We have Hadrudin, a giant of Elbaf, who wants to win the fruit so he can become king of the giants. Almost a Luffy-pilled motivation, and then Luffy obliterates him with one punch. Is Luffy really strong at this point in the story, or is Hadrudin just a pathetic wannabe king to go down in one punch?
Well, they say he had lightning speed. I think that, he just made a poor calculation by taking our precious Moosey down and smashing him through the concrete.
Lucy and Moosey.
I did like how this is the brutal bull,
That's
so
right.
like he killed 21 people in one day. Brutal. But Luffy, with his affinity for all that's good in the world, he's able to, give us another animal friend who will certainly place above his weight when the eventual Dressrosa tier list comes into play.
If I recall, before they went to Sabaody and they met the fake-looking Sanji guy, did Luffy not run away in fear at the sight of his giant bull? I recall being disappointed with one panel of Luffy running away from a charging bull. And now he's, like, easily taming one, so maybe it's just more evidence of how far he's grown. But that might have been a mistake Oda made originally.
True. I also feel that it has to do with the fact that this is somebody who, there is no escape here. This is supposed to be fighting to the death, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's actually in the combat rules, but the way that I'm reading it and the way that it's being explained by certain characters so far in this arc is that this is, a battle to the death. So there's not really much else to do here besides either go one-on-one or find a way to utilize this opponent in a way that could be beneficial to you. And they just liked him, and then that's what caused him to have a bit of a torment about his crushing and
the monkey rage. Yeah, just like Goku, he gets stronger when he's angry. Oh, I love that. That's some good character writing. But who doesn't get stronger when they're angry, I suppose? There is a conspiracy going on. We have a vice admiral, I think Maynard or something. He looks very scary, and he's waiting outside the Coliseum so that all these loser gladiator pirates can be arrested. But hundreds and hundreds of people have lost, and nobody has left the Coliseum yet. Where the hell did all the losers go?
Well, see, Maynard, he got walloped in the last volume. I'm not sure if we mentioned that, right? Because he, I can't remember if it was Bart or who it was. Somebody handled, because he had gone, there was like a guy.
Well, maybe I have the name wrong. There's a guy waiting outside with like a scary mask on or something. I thought that was Maynard, but maybe not.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be Homeboy Killer because of the mask somewhere, but that's a Shark Slicer Bastille.
Okay, that's probably closer.
And he says, quote, Vice Admiral Maynard's incognito as a contestant. We haven't heard anything from him in a while, ... Pretty sure he got walloped by somebody in the last volume, as I recall.
That makes more sense. Yeah, they had Maynard undercover, and now they don't know what happened to him. But the fact that they remember his name is proof he's probably not a toy.
True. Although, now come to think of it, see, that's not even a connection that I made. I thought maybe like, maybe they're all just getting killed. But I suppose why kill them when they could be a toy slave? So, yeah, that might be...
And nobody's going to come looking for him because they wouldn't even remember that somebody's missing. Kind of the perfect crime. We also find out from the Tontatas that the factory they want to destroy is under the Coliseum. What the hell?
That is awfully suspect. I thought you would think that the factory would just be like a part of the town.
Nah, it's hidden underground. How is Frankie supposed to find and blow that shit up? I guess he can find it now that the Tontatas are with him, but... I like that Leo, he says that they need to save their Princess Manchuri, but he has nothing good to say about her. Just talking horrible shit, but she's one of us, so we have to save her anyway. I like that attitude.
It's what keeps the Tantata nation strong after these hundreds of years of subjugation. And speaking of strong Tantatas, this Bean, leader of the Pink Bee Squad. Oh my love, I think I'm starting to think what Keenan Corner's talking about when he's posting his fursuit. I think I'm starting to get the idea of the culture when I see this hot, sexy bee.
What? I don't remember this. There's a hot, sexy bee. Aren't these things like 6 inches tall?
Probably less than that, but I mean, hey.
So she could like give your cock a body hug.
As long as they ain't sting, I ain't into that much. But yeah,
hey, she's probably of age. These things are probably hundreds of years old for all we know.
That's right.
Did they ever say Leo's age?
Hornet model is Bean. There's Cub, who's like the rhinoceros beetle or whatever.
We're putting this on Eggy's list of waifus, you're saying. I'm gonna have to look this up and verify she is a cutie pie, but I'm scared of bees, so I actually might be terrified of her.
And this is a hornet, so she should really have no redeeming qualities whatsoever. These are like the wasps or whatever that just kill you and don't even give you honey or anything like that. But
white Anglo-Saxon Protestants.
Hey, she
the
could
best kind of person.
She can operate an airport underground. I mean, that's probably who's usually doing that. So, yeah.
I like that the Tontata's underground tunnel is big enough to fit Usopp and Robin, who's like 6 feet tall. Like they didn't need to make their little airport that big when they're so small. So convenient. Should we talk about the cover story? Well, I have it pulled up in my notes.
Certainly.
Because did we predict Caribou was gonna abandon this lady for dead? Did we get an actual character arc from the most evil, despicable character we've ever met?
I think we did have an idea that it was going to be over for her and he was just going to get what he wanted and leave. But at the same time, Homeboy Scarecrow, a.k.a. What was the actual name here? Captain...
Scotch?
Scotch, yeah.
I thought you would remember Scotch of all words, Eggy.
For him to be holding up, like what's at best case scenario, an unconscious, bloody body of his beloved fake grandmother. I mean, that's pretty cold. I mean, that's got to be Caribou level at the least of villainry. So I could see how that could, finally spur some development. I mean, to be honest, I think we've been due for it. I like Caribou in his absolute scumbag ways, just being the most dislikable scum that there's no low that he won't stoop to.
Well, I think the motivating factor was when Caribou shows up to save him and says, hey, you might have just abandoned us all for dead as we were saving you, but remember what Grandma said. Brothers need to get along. And as a man who recently had his grandma pass away and now my whole family is dedicated to forcing everybody to get together every month, I'm feeling what Caribou is preaching here. And I don't know if I would take the Caribou route of risking my life to save somebody else's grandma in that effort, but he sure does. And he just pretends to be Garbaroo, and the whole crew pretends they're part of Garbaroo. That's anything else from this cover story? I guess that Scotch is no match for the swamp fruit, and he's getting all flooded up. We still don't know if he's a robot or not, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was satisfying because this thing's looked like a freak ever since he first appeared. I'm thinking he looks like a Harvest Reaper from World of Warcraft. I just found something about him. I mean, Caribou's the most unsettling looking person I've ever seen in my entire life. So, like, once again, you have to be at a certain level to outdo him. But I don't know, just something about the inhumanity. At least Caribou, you're getting the psychopathic kind of look to him, like this sort of, I don't even know if it's a robot, if it's like a possessed scarecrow, what the hell this is. He's all bulky. He's kind of just, something about him is very unsettling and very freakish. So I'm glad to see him get handled. I mean, and it's interesting because, I mean, I've hated Caribou, or I did at a point, and I really found him extremely loathsome. So to outdo him, it's masterful work. Again, Oda, I kneel.
I was not expecting a cover story that says Caribou fights to liberate the proletariat. Like, what the hell? I don't even know what proletariat means. I've never read the Communist Manifesto.
I'm pretty sure it's what you might call a wagey. It's those of us who, it's like that, the non-business owners, the non-production owners or whatever, just us common scum. Finally, here we can believe in. So
is Caribou's heart changed for the better now that he's fought the good fight and protected an old hag who treated him like a son? Or are we expecting the next volume of cover stories he's just back to his wicked ways and this was a one-time deal?
Well, it's funny because, we have people like Walpole who we see in these cover stories, that he really is at rock bottom, uses his fundamental ability to build himself back up in order to kind of get his hands back onto his previous status, his previous empire, his previous way of living. And when we have Caribou here, this is something that he didn't need to do. He didn't have the rock bottom that somebody like Walpole had, where his hand was forced to try and, play the straight and narrow in order to, get himself back on his feet. Caribou went kind of out of his way after everything that was going on and said, hey, you know what? Maybe a little bit begrudgingly, perhaps, but he's linking back up with family. He's making his way to, avenge Gaburu's grandmother in that way. And it seems like with that being sort of maybe a little bit out of the kindness of his heart, or at least not something that he absolutely needed to do. And I think, being a revolutionary captain, that doesn't necessarily have to be completely exclusive from being a thieving scumbag. I think, in the history of communism, usually somebody gets a foot up on, like, oh, look, I'm the hero, I'm going to fight for all of us. And all of a sudden they're, suddenly sitting at their computer, live streaming and getting like $1 million a year. They're going to China and betting on horses. They might be electrocuting some dogs, So it's like our great heroes, sometimes they get a little bit of a leg up in the rat race and they kind of start getting comfortable. So, I think that Caribou certainly could find himself in that position that's also still self-serving but has heroic aspects for the time being.
So stay in disguise as Gabaru the hero and then abuse the people who believe in you and take all their money, get a bunch of Twitch subs out of it. Yeah, I'd like that future for Caribou. What other path does he have to go on? Just pretend to be some other guy.
Yeah, he could be in that position. He could still be harboring the secrets of the Fishman Island, but you don't got to be a common swamper anymore. You could really have you could walk around with your head held high for a little while anyway. It might be a good change for him.
We do not have any comments or new members today. We've been stuck at 67 members for about a month, which is a truly disgusting number. So please, somebody either unsubscribe or we need a new one. I can't leave it on 67.
I'm going to give my girlfriend $5 so she could become a paid member for this channel too and push it for a bit.
Hey, it's only $3. It's a good ass deal.
True.
Did you take a better look at this Don Sai, who's an underling of Qin Zhao? Because I'm more convinced than ever he must be related to Don Krieg. They have the same fucking lips, and I think their head's the same shape. Most of my theories are just that people are related to each other. Like Mr. 3 is related to Whoop Slap, Kaido's mom here, and hanging out with Garbaru.
Well, so let's see. So Sai, he has what appears to be. So we have Qin Zhao. He has the 12 on his forehead. Is that right? I believe.
I don't remember.
Because I know he's got some number on his forehead. And I just pulled up a panel here for reference from 716 where Sai is putting the beat down on the Fused brothers and the Fused Funk Bros. And he's got a 13 tattooed on his left side of his rib cage. So it's very interesting. All these numbers we're seeing flying around here. But I'm
not even worried about the numbers. Just like physically, do you think he resembles him? That they could be cousins or something?
I do kind of see what you're getting at, but I also think I'm thinking to myself, because he's kind of got like the square kind of jaw, and I see the resemblance. I do, but then I'm thinking, okay, if I can figure out what these numbers are about, is this some sort of indication, perhaps maybe additionally supplemental to proving this to be legitimate? But it's and he's very powerful. We know Don Krieg was also,
and I get the New World is on the same hemisphere as the East Blue, and Don Krieg did go through the Calm Belt without completely being killed, so it's possible. Not that any of it actually matters. I guess it just makes the world feel, in a way, bigger and smaller, that so many random characters might be related.
And I think that there's possibly a precedent that some of our great heroes throughout history, some of our great warriors had some similar upbringings and some similar, common themes. So it's, it would be respectable for Oda to kind of take that into consideration in his world building, especially, with such gaps in between introduction to these different characters.
Would you like to tell us about Don Chinjiao and his tragic backstory, since I think that's one of the only things we haven't covered so far?
Yes. So we know from last time he was extremely seething. He said that, he cursed multiple generations of Garp's family. Garp destroyed his life. He ruined him. But we didn't necessarily have a great explanation. I was thinking to myself last time, okay, well, this is some 500 million bounty pirate. Garp is, top Navy man. I'm sure he just orchestrated some kind of takedown. Well, not quite. So the 30 years ago, Don Chinjiao, well, he had all the riches a man could ask for. All he had to do was keep it underneath a nice level of ice. Nobody could possibly penetrate this ice, which covered up all his great riches. He just had this moniker, the Drill. And it's because he had a giant pointy head, and he would just basically, seemed like all he had to do was just like kneel really fast, or just strike the ice with the top of his head at all. And it was so powerful that it immediately would shatter this protective layer and give him access to all of his riches. Nobody else could possibly touch it. But
now, I wondered, did Cavendish know this backstory when he, last volume, went to stab this man straight in the skull? Like, did he know that his head was his strongest point, or was he, was it just luck? Because otherwise, if this man is not known as the Drill for his super strong head, he probably would have got pierced in the brain at that point.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. Cavendish seems to be. It's still, what we see of Cavendish in this volume is, Luffy being Lucy. He's on the field. He's controlling the brutal bull. He's getting all of this attention, and Cavendish is still seeing he's still being.
He's doing it again.
God damn it! I feel like he's too status obsessed, too popular obsessed, etc. I don't think he's read into Don Chinjiao's history like that, to be honest.
So yeah, he was just going for the kill.
Right. And he still seems to be. He was ready to go jump out on the field during the. They're like, no, hold up, wait, it's Group C doing the thing.
So are we to believe that Chinjiao only wants to win this tournament because the flame fruit might melt this ice vault and he could get his lifetime treasure back?
I think that's a fair assessment. Yeah, I mean,
I think that's the only good reason to make it be a weird ice vault is that you can't open it without a pointy head or without fire.
And it probably still would need to be him having the fruits, because I don't know. I mean, maybe I feel like he's got the experience, he's got the history, the strength, and the size to be able to if this is just even Kelly Funk with the Flame Fist, is it gonna do as much to break up this ice as John Chinjiao? His fist is as big as entire humans. I think that probably aids his cause as well. But speaking of
plus
which,
he has Conqueror's Haki too, so he's way leagues above in power.
Yeah. So he had this beautiful pointy head, but Garp's incredibly powerful strike to the top of his head basically crumpled him like an accordion and gave him this lumpy sort of fat person skull shape that we see now before us.
And Garp said he was to train to do this. He used 8 mountains as sandbags. Are we to believe he punched mountains into rubble?
Well, this also explains the Luffy's Gear 3 fist, that being this giant darkened fist. The depiction here we see of Garp's fist as it's striking the top of Chinjiao's head. It has this unusual dark kind of thing going with it. So maybe that's some sort of familial thing that's being passed down here with this sort of particular strike.
I think that's a visual representation of armament hockey.
Okay. Was it? It's interesting because I thought if Luffy's got Supreme Emperor or Haki of the Conqueror or King, or I feel like I've referred to it a couple different ways.
Yeah, I think Luffy can use all types of Haki, armament, conquerors, and observation. Because I'm pretty sure he used observation against Mr. 3. And people remember in Alabasta when Zoro was fighting Mr. 1 and he like unlocked his Haki there. And people give Zoro credit. Oh, he's the first one to unlock observation. Luffy used his instinct to know which Mr. 3 to kick. I'm pretty damn sure that's what that was.
And it would make sense for him to have his awakening first of anybody.
Yeah, he's the main character. And he's always stronger than Zoro, you fucking pussies.
That's right. Zoro is sitting here. He's in the Tentada Kingdom watching Luffy's fight on this screen and going, what?
He's pissed.
Why is he fighting? My swords are itching. But obviously he didn't know that this is a sword-free fight, or at least it's supposed to. That was my understanding. And then we have this bounty hunter here. I guess some of these people seem to have weapons.
You could pick weapons provided by the Colosseum at one point, and I guess this bandit guy is collecting all the dead people's lost weapons. And people are a common complaint is why are there no bounty hunters in One Piece? You'd think there'd be way more. I think this bounty hunter guy getting obliterated by Luffy very easily here, or whatever happened to him, I don't quite remember. I think it was Luffy. I think that's...
he throws all the weapons at Luffy with John Chinchou behind him, and Luffy just dodges everything, and all the stuff goes in John Chinchou. He's like, what the fuck?
And he's got all these swords sticking out of his stomach, but he's kind of just fine. I think the idea of pirates are the ultimate freedom in this world, and that these bounty hunters, they're not even cops. Like, they want to take away another man's freedom for monetary gain. I think Oda might be shitting on that whole concept of, like, these dream killers out there, and every time they appear in the story, they should be humiliated.
Yeah, I was kind of a little bit, I mean, it's all cool, but we get this sort of monologue from the bounty hunter here, Jean. He's talking about all the 6th level escapees. He's talking about Shiryu again. He's saying he knows where everybody is. I almost kind of felt like it would be, maybe it's not so relevant right now that we should have it introduced, but it would be kind of cool if, like, we get a little inclination where people are, because I think Luffy might say something even as much like, oh, yeah, where were they at? Or he might have said, I think about maybe, Ivankov. He says, oh, how's Eva doing? But he knows where they all are, allegedly. But that immediately after saying that, Luffy dodges all of his weapons. He grabs his Lucy helmet, and then I should say he gets a nice headbutt from Don Chinchou and gets blasted through the wall. So
the humiliation he deserves for being a pathetic bounty hunter.
And I should mention too, after Garp smushed his peak and he went back to his horde anyway, and was just repeatedly smashing his face into the ice and bloodying himself, and it was absolutely just no good. And he had to just leave being a pirate, basically in total humiliation, because he can no longer access his riches. But there is a very happy ending here in this volume. And Luffy has an all-time hilarious line. He says, "One punch? Who cares? He's punched me countless times." This dude's got a grudge against his grandpa for something he himself has endured hundreds more times. It just didn't lead to the loss of wealth, I guess. And Luffy, I said before I wanted 1v1 fights. I don't like this free-for-all shit. And Luffy versus Chinchou here goes on for 2 or 3 full chapters. And it's I also like how right preceding to them fighting each other with it's the IDEO, the boxer, and there's another guy that's was it the Funk brother? Was it Sai? These two guys they're saying, oh, these guys are the front runners to win, and then Luffy and Chinchou are so angry they defeat both of them in one hit while charging at each other. That was a good bit. Just pushing them out of the way instantly, throws them out of the ring into the wall, and everyone's like, oh shit. Yeah, these are the only two guys, as far as I can tell, who have Conqueror's Haki here, so it stands to reason that they would be leagues stronger. Yeah, I mean, so I've seen this hockey be used. I've seen the energy here of it like be so impactful that it just like knocks lesser people out on their feet. Is this something? I just want to make sure I'm understanding this right. Is this like sort of a? I don't want to sound like a scrub, but like a Super Saiyan. Like this is essentially when this hockey's activated, your power has stepped up to the next level, or is it just like an energy blast?
I think it's like what Luffy did at Fishman Island that the Tontatas even talk about in this volume, where he activates it and 50,000 men just collapse. I think it's just like your presence is so intimidating that those who are not in your league or even close to it just can't even stand being near you.
Yeah, so that definitely does help them for sure.
Did you notice anything in the SBS of chapter 719 where Oda draws a gender-swapped version of all of the supernova, Eggy? Did you notice anything peculiar?
Well, I'll say this much. Scratchmen gods are exceptional taste has been proven once again, because obviously Scratch Femme Apu she's quirky. The keys kind of look like braces a little bit. I don't know. I was digging it immediately.
So Eggy's gonna have a threesome with female Scratchman Apu and the bee, like a 6-inch tall bee.
I mean, what more could a man ask for? That should be the grand prize, not Ace's fruit. I'd crawl into the screen and start fighting myself.
I just pulled it up, Eggy, and something about like Scratchman having what looks like braces with these fucking piano teeth and then the glasses. I mean, it's so disgusting to me. I hate glasses. I don't need a woman with fucking what looks like braces. So I don't know. I think right next to her, female Kid is much cuter.
She's got that, Femme Kid definitely has some energy going on. The wild hair, the scar, looks good. I mean, no doubt. I'm not much, if I wanted a nice housewife, type, we got Femme Capone over there, looking like a real nice, somebody you want to bring home to your mother, somebody who can make a good ziti,
But hey, does anything come to mind when you look at all these, or should we move on, other than how attractive they are? Is there anything else popping out to you?
Well, that's what's the age changer. I forgot
Bonnie,
what her name is,
Jewelry Bonnie.
Yeah, that appears to be her in the middle right, because that's a man there. So
yeah, does she look like Bonnie?
No.
Who does she look like?
Like Sanji? Well, is in the Femme Swap version there? Well, maybe
okay.
A little Zoro.
Maybe. I mean, I don't want to say nothing, but I mean, unless you want me to. I mean, I could just give my opinion on who I think male Bonnie looks like. I don't think that's anything.
I mean, maybe a little smokery.
Maybe. I feel like I shouldn't say it now if Eggy's not seeing it. I don't want to influence his perception.
Well, I mean, I'm seeing a little bit of everybody that I just mentioned, like Zoro, Sanji, and Smoker. I'm seeing like a little bit like in different parts of this individual. So,
and considering that Bonnie could be any age, is she secretly Zoro's mom? Sanji's mom? If she looks like one of these people, it could be.
Right.
Probably not Zoro's child.
Right.
Okay, interesting. Well, I don't want to say nothing more. We'll get to that if we ever need to. Anything else from this volume? Luffy talks to Blackbeard through snail mail or snail phone.
Yeah, I'm saying that he needs that fruit for homeboy Jesus Burgess.
It'd be like I have my own ace on the crew. Ah ha ha ha. Pretty brutal thing to say when you're the one responsible for Luffy losing his brother.
Yeah, and Jesus Burgess, he does certainly, he never looked like a scrub by any means, but he does seem to be, I'm feeling a bit more power coming off of him than we had seen before. And after that, we kind of get more or less the closing point of this volume, which is homegirl Rebecca. She's we've seen her around. She's looking like pretty good here. She's
She
Definitely
shows a lot of
eye-catching.
skin for somebody who should be wearing armor to protect herself.
She's got the JRPG armor curse going on. You know, the micro kini of chainmail. It is what it is.
And in her desperation to win this entire tournament, she's willing to betray Luffy here, buys him some lunch, but then is trying to stab him, I think probably to death when a prisoner grabs him. And thankfully, Luffy is just so much stronger than all these people that he can clown on them and enjoy his lunch while pinning her to the floor. And he shows a lot of grace and mercy for a man who was just attacked.
Yeah, for sure. He's getting a little bit of Sanji energy here because I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think if there's been an equivalent circumstance where he's been attacked by a woman like this, but usually he's at least standoffish about it. He's usually like, yeah, yo, but I guess the food does make all the difference. I can attest to that, so I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, the fact that she bought him food supersedes the fact that she's trying to kill him. That's how much Luffy values food and friends.
That's right. And she gives Luffy a little backstory here. Our toy soldier friend that we've been seeing that's currently with Frankie and giving him the breakdown of what has been going on with people being turned into toy soldiers and everything like that. Well, she got to know him when she was younger because the Doflamingo takeover happened. There was the previously the Riku Empire that had been ruling Dressrosa, and Doflamingo came, flipped it. Her mother was brutally attacked. And as she was out hiding amongst the flower field, the toy soldier's the one who said, your mother died. And
if this toy soldier is taking care of Rebecca, like in a fatherly way, and we see earlier that the toys are, they try to be there for their family members who don't remember them. Mm-hmm. Are there any inferences we should make?
Yeah, I was feeling like, I mean, basically from, this whole chapter here, the final chapter, 721, I feel like it was pretty on the nose. Of course, I could be wrong, but if this is, he was toy soldier just at the exact moment that the kingdom was overthrown. She was the princess who never was, so she's got this status. And there's this one particular toy soldier who's, the most committed and the most resilient, the most tactical out of probably any that we've seen, at least, as far as, going against the Doflamingo kingdom and trying to get that all overthrown. Yeah, I mean, if it's not somebody that's her relative at the very least, even if it's not her father, I would be very surprised.
And if she was to be a princess, and this is hypothetically her father, would this be King Riku as the toy soldier?
Well, the heir apparent for that kingdom, anyway. I don't know, because the last thing it said is that her grandpa was the old king. So
okay, because I was gonna say because all the stands know who King Riku is and they hate him. He's like an enemy of the people, so they haven't forgotten him. So surely the king himself could not be a toy.
Right, so maybe, it could be that the grandfather, I don't know, maybe he wasn't necessarily killed. I guess, I don't know if you would think so, but yeah, knowing what we know and trying to piece this together in a way that makes sense. Maybe he fled or something like that, and then or it could be an uncle, could be a brother. But I'm feeling definitely like that it's a relative, and also just, I don't know, the reaction that he has upon finding her mother's corpse is obviously, it's just very matter of fact, I couldn't save her. But I guess probably the toy can't express a ton of emotions anyway. Maybe it's more
these
emotional.
10 eyes can no longer cry tears of their own.
Right. That is a quote from our hero, Mr. One-Legged Tin Soldier.
Anything else from this volume, Eggy, now that I think we actually have covered everything? Barto cuts the dude's tongue out when he's talking shit about Luffy. Fucking brutal.
I was wondering if we were going to get a panel of the guy mumbling unintelligibly, but I don't think it went that far. I think it just kind of happened.
Oda's in a dark and twisted place lately with that crazy Bellamy attack last volume and now this. Bellamy, of course, is he's gonna get promoted if he kills Luffy. Are we seeing a Luffy versus Bellamy rematch in the future? And do you think it will go any better for Bellamy this time?
Well, I could definitely see it happening. I feel like maybe, I don't know, because he's already got the spring fruit. I'm trying to think of like what, you know, if there would be some way that he could like still eat one of Doflamingo's artificial devil fruits to like somehow be also zone type and devil fruit of another kind at the same time. I don't know.
He'd have to ask Blackbeard for advice. Blackbeard ate 2 fruits.
Right. I think there's certainly potential for a rematch that could have a level playing field, but I don't know. I feel like right now Luffy's kind of showing him up, and I know Luffy after his fight, he's kind of like, oh, I'm tired. So maybe there could be a moment where Luffy faces off with somebody else, gets really exhausted, and then Bellamy springs on it. It's not honorable, but if it's going to lead to something that's very beneficial for him, it might be worth his shame to attack an injured and weak and tired Luffy, perhaps, kind of like how Kuma did, as we were talking about in our recent members-only bonus episode, Thriller Bark Tier List. Make sure to go check that out. Join if you have not already.
Yeah, there's a whole playlist of members, exclusive episodes. I think it's up to about 10 at this point, because we reviewed a bunch of the One Piece movies in there as well. Eggy, any other predictions for the future, things you want to see happen? We didn't cover a lot of the Law, Doflamingo, Fujitora face-off, but really it's, you know, it was just a really cool meteor so far.
Yeah, pretty much. I felt like we got more development on the Tontada side of like, okay, you know, the Mont Blanc Nolan reveal, you know.
Do you have an answer for what is Fujitora's power? Because last time we saw him throw people down like a chasm hole, and now he's pulling meteorites out of the sky. What is this power, Eggy?
Oh, I feel like perhaps it's some kind of like with the meteor, I'm feeling like he's able to pull mass. I don't know what the best way to describe it is. I feel like the hole that he created was him like pulling down like on the land that they were standing on, and him pulling a meteor could have been.
What could possibly pull mass down?
The crater. Well,
there's got to be a word for that. Scientifically, what forces mass down?
Oh, the gravity.
Gravity fruit? That'd be pretty damn strong.
Yeah. I mean, if he could reach into outer space and
that's insane. Why didn't he grab Eneru off the moon? That would have helped.
Yeah.
Can he pull the fucking moon down?
Well, didn't we watch something recently where somebody was like grabbing the moon and pulling it down? I feel like that sounds familiar.
That happens in Avengers Infinity War. Thanos does that to Iron Man, and it's actually very epic.
Oh yeah, maybe it was Fantastic Four or something like that happened.
Yeah, maybe. It also happens, I think, in the canon Naruto movie. But you haven't seen that.
I guess the only thing I could say is maybe he can't. That might be a little too strong, perhaps. Maybe he can only move things of a certain strength.
I saw bro pull a meteor from space and throw it at somebody. That's pretty damn good. And that's in my birthday chapter. Maybe that's why I like it so much. Maybe that's a scene we should watch in the anime. I'm sure they didn't fuck that one up.
I would like to see it, but also I should say, there's something we don't really get an answer here to, but at the end of 712, Law says Doflamingo, if you could have pulled this off, something so preposterous, someone that would do that would have to be a celestial dragon.
Oh yeah, we forgot
flashback with Virgo, you know nothing of Joker's past, and that'll be your downfall. And
yeah, is Doflamingo a celestial dragon turned pirate? Because I don't think we've seen any character of that type before.
Well, I guess it would make sense, like how they're alluding to, like how is he able to have this kind of control as a warlord. Like even warlords don't have this control. He's like controlling his own, like at his superior's level.
Cypher Pool Zero like was lying on his behalf, and they only obey the celestial dragons.
Yeah, and his attitude, his connections, his his underground black markets dealings. I feel like that all would certainly speak to those ends. I don't know. Have we seen him really? He's always seems to kind of be like stationed somewhere. I don't know if we've really seen him on a ship. So maybe he's more of like he didn't necessarily get a reputation on the Seven Seas like that in the traditional pirate way. Maybe he just kind of already had these elite connections from a young age and just kind of instituted himself among certain dealings, perhaps.
He would be a man of many titles: King of Dressrosa, Celestial Dragon of the World, Pirate Warlord. He's got a lot going on. Should I tell you who I think male Bonnie looked like?
Please do.
I think she resembles Shanks.
Okay, yeah, I could see that, yeah.
Yeah.
With the facial hair and the, yeah.
Is this Shanks' mom?
Yeah, it sure could be. Yeah, I mean, why not get birthed of supernova stock? That's going to give you an advantage, right?
And now that I've revealed that, I think I've spared or used up all of my opinions on this volume, Eggy. Are you loving Dressrosa as much as I do?
Absolutely. Kind of the contents of this volume, we get a little bit of the Doflamingo Law. We get more of the Tontada, and I'm still liking them a lot. I like their gumption. I like them crawling out of Robin's boobs to talk to her.
Yeah, the Chief Tontada is probably also literally me.
That's right. And good fights. There was a lot of interesting action here, and no complaints on my part. I liked the weight to the Don Chinchao Luffy fight and the backstory of it. That really gives you the feeling of an old has-been man with nothing to lose. He just has nothing in his mind but rage and revenge, and it's by any means necessary to get it. And
Luffy's punch gives him back his drill. So happy ending, yeah. Luffy he rights the wrongs of history just by punching.
Just by that, Don Chinchao is also like, "Oh, I'd like to give you control of the armies that I control," just because I got his gratitude.
But Luffy's he's misunderstanding the situation and running away in fear.
I think he kneels down to thank him, and his drill head blows the ground up.
Yeah, he's not used to having his powers back yet, and accidentally splits the floor. It reminds me of, I guess, that old episode of Codename Kids Next Door. Where he's doing try to get the ultimate flavor of slushy or something, and then his friends kidnap Nigel Uno when he just desperately wants to tell him it was the perfect flavor. Like, no, why are you running away? You're completely misunderstanding what's happening. Very frustrating when I'm 7 years old and autistic.
That's right. I know that feel.
Okay, I think for the 8th time I'll say we're done. See you next week. One Piece, people.